knowing when to ask for help is critical when you're in a leadership position.
It's getting the best out of people. That's the essence of leadership.
Welcome back to Leaders on Leadership. We're here with Ray Lane, a managing partner at Kleiner, Perkins, Caufield, and Byers, and he's ready to take some questions from our students from Wayne State University School of Business Administration. Your question, please.
Hello, my name is Henry Mai. I'm currently studying Information Systems Management. My question is, will the U.S. lead in innovation again? And what field would it be?
So this is a very good question. It's a very broad question. It's going to be tough to answer this in a short period of time, but let me try. So certainly the U.S. gets credit for being an innovator for the last century. We created the Industrial Revolution, we created the computer industry, we created the aviation industry. There's a number of industries that were created in the United States, and we led that innovation. And so America, more than I'd say any other country in the world, has led by innovating. Today, I think we're challenged by not so much other developed countries, but challenged by the emerging world. So we're challenged by China, we're challenged by India, we're challenged by even countries like Russia and Eastern Europeans and South Americans and Brazil, if you broaden the topic to clean tech and biofuels and things like that. The U.S. is going to have to change. It's going to have to be an effort, because we are a developed society. It's going to have to change how government and business work together. The internet came out of deep research that was being done by DoD. And so we used to have an organization, still do, called DARPA, ARPA and DARPA, which were DOE and DoD organizations that put taxpayer money into research. Today, the research that the U.S. does is minimal. So we're not really breaking ground. I grew up in an era when NASA was born, and we did a lot of space research that came back and benefited us. If you look at the amount of R&D that we actually have going today that's government funded, it's really pathetic compared to what it was 40, 50 years ago. And so we have to get back to that. That's the first thing, is we need government policy, government funding to be looking at real R, not so much D, but real R, research that will come out of the DOE labs, other labs, the DoD, that will then help the United States be competitive throughout the world. The second thing we need is a change in our immigration policy. Our immigration policy does not recognize a student that is, say, a graduating MBA or a graduating computer science major that happens to be from India versus a migrant farm worker. And they basically get treated the same. And so we need to change our policy so that when the best and brightest in the world come to our universities and take the time to be educated by our universities, that we keep them here, because that is a job creating engine. If you keep people who are very, very bright, who are going to be the innovators of the future, rather than chasing them back to their country so that China can be more innovative or India can be more innovative than us. So I think it's going to be a big, big challenge to stay ahead of this curve. We can do it, but we've got to change our policies. We've got to have government work with business. We have to change our immigration policy. And what is absolutely maybe our last advantage in the world, unique advantage in the world, is our higher education system.
Your question, please.
Hi, my name is Naja Woods. I'm currently studying marketing here at Wayne State University. And my question is, IT is a maturing industry. Is this still the place for an entrepreneurial career?
So yeah, you're right, IT is maturing, but I still think there's a lot of room left. So I heard this question a lot in the years between 2000, the end of the great tech boom, and 2007, 2008. There wasn't a lot of investment. We didn't see a lot of entrepreneurs at Kleiner Perkins. There wasn't a lot to invest in. It's about the time that I went to clean tech and saw a great growth in the renewable energy business. But look what's happened. Facebook, Groupon, Twitter, mobility with smartphones. So it just moved a different place. It's not happening in enterprise software like it did in the 90s, when you saw the growth of Oracle and SAP and PeopleSoft and Siebel and those kinds of technologies, or the growth of client server kinds of technologies. Today it's a different place. It's all about connecting the world. Internet software, e-commerce, social networking, smartphones. So entrepreneurs would argue that that's an environment that is much better than it was in the 90s to develop companies. And we're certainly funding a lot of entrepreneurs right now in the digital world, in the IT world. It is an environment right now that is just better than it was in the 90s for entrepreneurs.
Question, please.
Yes, sir. My name is James Lockett. I'm studying business management. My question is, some people say that Moore's law, that computers power, as you say, computer power changes every 18 months, and it slows, and there's a decline after that 18 months. If this should happen, how would this affect your industries?
So what I think you're addressing is there is a law in the computer industry called Moore's Law. It's named after Gordon Moore, who was at Intel, one of the founders of Intel, who basically said that the power of computing, the power of the microprocessor and the transistor that supports it, but microprocessors will deliver twice the compute power for the same price every 18 months. Another way to say that is that you can buy the same computing power at half the price every 18 months. It is what fuels the computer industry. It doesn't exist in any other industry. So if you try to take that law and apply it to the renewable energy industry, it doesn't work. The laws of thermodynamics get in your way. It just doesn't work. But the laws of physics and the whole idea of miniaturizing transistors and circuit boards and microprocessors allows you to develop much more compute power for a much lower price. And so that formula, again, not present in any other industry, has fueled the growth of this industry. The prediction of the end of Moore's Law has been around for about 15 years, that we can't shrink things anymore because heat is your enemy. So if you shrink a circuit board or shrink a semiconductor straight or shrink a microprocessor, that you can't get rid of the heat that it generates, and you can't get air or water into the space that you need to carry away the heat. And somehow the industry has figured it out and keeps shrinking and keeps Moore's Law alive. I think we believe in the next 10 years Moore's Law will come to its physical limit, that we just simply can't, something you can't even see is working as a machine, as a computer, and it's generating heat, and you can't get rid of that heat finally. Nanotechnology will become the natural follow-on. So we'll see quantum machines, we'll see nanotechnology replace it. We'll see what's called microelectronic machines, MEMS technology, that'll be the natural follow-on to Moore's Law. But Moore's Law, I think we can now see the end of the tunnel, but there's plenty of technology that will take its place.
Question, please.
Yes, my name is Ike Udano. I'm currently studying marketing. My question is that you're a very successful businessman and business leader with an informal degree in business. And I was just wondering how that affects and impacts your views on leadership.
Well, I think the way you have to look at education is it's just simply a starter. It's like having breakfast in the morning. It gives you a base of understanding how things relate to each other, and it gives you an opportunity to say, I think I might like to do that. I think I like marketing better than engineering. You shouldn't work too hard at trying to figure out, so if when I'm in school, I must decide what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. In fact, I think just the opposite. So if you come to school without a major, you develop a major while you're here, you choose marketing, you're in graduate school as an MBA or an undergrad? Undergrad, so you're going to be, say, graduate as a marketing major. I'd say every field is open to you, including even the medical field. You have to go back and get your undergraduate, do some biology and some other work. But you should not restrict anything because you're a marketing major. Now, you probably, the easiest thing would be to go out and say, okay, well, I want a marketing degree, I want to find a marketing job. Again, once you get in that would be logical. You should do that. But once you do that, now a whole array of functions opens up to you. Maybe you want to sell. Maybe you want to, practice some other function. You don't have an engineering degree, so you probably couldn't go into engineering. There's some things that are restricted. But keep that aperture as open as you can. As open as you can. When I graduated as a math major, the logical thing for me to have done was to be an actuary at an insurance company, sit behind a desk, or go do problem solving for the CIA. But I chose to go to IBM and learn how to sell and market and eventually be a product manager in computers. And that's what I would encourage you to do, is use that as to look at a bunch of things. Don't lock into marketing.
Thanks again, Ray.
Okay.
Please join us again next time for another edition of Leaders on Leadership. See you then.